Hey, y'all, it's Alexander Creek, astrologer and intuitive guide. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be doing a mini reading for a listener. I did a call for submissions for those of you who had Virgo or Pisces placements to send in your chart, and I would do a reading for you on the podcast. So, this is going to be kind of focused around the astrology of the lunar eclipse in Pisces that we just had. But of course, I would be, I'm taking everything else into perspective here. So this will give you a chance to kind of learn a little bit of astrology, if you do astrology, see maybe how I do my process and vice versa. So let's go ahead and pull this chart up. Remember, if you're wanting your own personal reading, you can always book a reading with me at dogstarOracle.com. I am doing special eclipse readings right now, and I think until mid-November, and then I'm not going to schedule them anymore. So let's go ahead and pull this chart up. Okay, so those of you listening to the audio, I do have the chart pulled up on my screen, and I am looking at the wrong one. Okay, one second. Let's do this correctly. Go me. What fun. Listening to me click around on YouTube or wherever you're listening. Okay, we got the right one up here. So, okay, yeah. So those of you listening to the audio, I do have the chart pulled up so you can kind of see what the overlay looks like, but it's not critical that you immediately go to YouTube. But if you're really wanting to see it, it's going here. So I have the inner wheel of this person's chart. I'm going to call her Jane Doe. We have Jane Doe's chart, her natal or birth chart in the middle, and then the outer ring are the various sort of planets and points transiting through the sky during this particular kind of moment in time. And this would be during the lunar eclipse that we had on the 17th. So first of all, hold on one second. So first of all, so Jane Doe is a Virgo rising. Virgo, I always start with the rising sign. The rising sign really kind of sets up the rest of the architecture of the chart. It's a sign rising on the eastern horizon. The moment you're born, it's very critical, and we get that from a birth time. So this person, I am noticing. I'm going to say first of all, I have an 11:45 a.m. birth time. I'm hoping that's really accurate because if we go a couple minutes later, we're going to be a Libra rising, and that completely changes the chart. But I'm going to go with this for now because it's what I have, and it's really interesting because the person's username on Instagram was something about fiction, and I am assuming this person does some kind of writing, maybe for a career or is an aspiring writer based on looking at their chart. Even if I didn't know anything from their Instagram username, there is communication and writing and words all over the chart. This is a highly mental energy, highly intellectually charged birth chart. The ascendant really speaks to one's personal approach to life, our identity, our physical body, our appearance, how we kind of approach things. And Virgo has this very kind of critical analysis energy. Virgo is always looking to improve the efficiency of various systems. There are often themes of work and service and just trying to always sort of perfect itself or always trying to do better. And Virgo frankly makes a really good editor. But so Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, of messages, of the mind, right? So immediately I am going to be looking at this person's Mercury. And what do we have here? We have Mercury in the sign of Gemini, actually at 29 degrees, a really important degree in astrology. So, because that's the last degree of any given sign. So it's really going to put an exclamation point around that Mercury. And this Mercury is really important because it is the ruler of the entire chart. Because if we have Virgo rising, that means you look to Mercury as ruling the self. And also Mercury rules Gemini. So Mercury would rule the 10th house of career, of public reputation, of authority figures. Mercury is also ruling actually mother and mother's family here as well, which is interesting because 10th house in traditional astrology has to do with the mother. And the reason I kind of mentioned that is because we also have the moon in the 10th house as well. The moon being our emotions, how we nurture ourselves, our natural responses to things, are also our connection, home and family, and mother here. And I just want to say maybe mother or mother's family has a strong influence in what this person is choosing to do with their career, or kind of what they want to be when they grow up, essentially. So having Mercury in Gemini, I would assume this person has, like, their mind moves very quickly. Talented, I'm going to say talented, communicator, writer. Mercury in Gemini is a very zippy energy. It's very quick. It's very curious. It loves to learn. It can get really bored and kind of move on just as quickly. But this, I'm gonna say, it's almost kind of giving me, like, you know, past life energy, like connected to writing, learning, teaching, anything with the mind, right? It could also be something like with their hands, or maybe this person like talks with their hands too, because Gemini rules kind of shoulders and arms and anything down. Um, and I'm going to say something with the mind, with communication, with writing. Um, Again, that really kind of intellectually busy energy is going to be connected to what this person is probably doing for a career, I would think. Something with teaching, something with writing, something with the mind again. Again, this person, I also feel like, makes like there's like this precision that comes in with Virgo energy. I'm gonna say maybe a little bit of neuroses. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I would say to this person, like, make sure that you have some grounding practices in your life, because this is a lot of mutable energy, and mutable energy, very adaptable and very versatile. And with this much like air energy, it can just be a little hard to ground that energy sometimes. It's like I'm sort of always sort of living in my head. And especially because we have the moon in Gemini, it's like I feel like this person would maybe need to like blab their feelings, or like write these feelings down in like a diary or something, or like, it's sort of like, because I have Mercury in Gemini in my chart and a couple planets in Gemini, and like I tend to notice with other heavy Gemini placements, especially moon in Gemini, it's like I need a person to blab to. I need to blab to a journal. I need to get these words out so I can kind of organize my thoughts, essentially. And like being able to organize one's mental energy, organize one's career, I think is going to be important to this person, because with Virgo, it's sort of like we need to organize and kind of sort things. And I'm just going to say very like intellectual, mercurial, mental energy in general. I also wonder if this person, even let's say that they're not necessarily like a writer or something. I do feel like that's kind of what they're supposed to be doing now. But like, there's also a feeling of like I'm connecting to the public. I'm connecting to the feelings and energy of the public, especially in having to do with one's career or one's sort of vocation. Because the moon, which represents women and the public in general, is conjunct the midheaven here. So it's like being able to appeal. It's like being able to appeal to the public, especially through one's writing or teachings or anything. Again, connected to like the mind here. If we look opposite this, oh, actually, I did want to mention one thing. There's an interesting out of sign conjunction. Conjunction meaning two planets who sort of occupy like the same point in space. Mercury and Chiron here are in an out of sign conjunction. It's out of sign because they're in different signs, but they're close to each other, so they are conjunct. Chiron is sort of like what we need healing on, sort of like the wounded healer in us all. And there's something like very tender and emotional, very healing that we need, sort of spiritual healing, or that we seek to heal others in conjunction with like this communication and writing thing. Maybe this person has some kind of like deep insecurity about their words or about their writing or about how they learn. Or there's just something what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, this is kind of like their emotional sort of soft spot, or this like thing that they're really tender about is their writing, or is their particular communication style, or maybe they don't feel like that they're heard by others, or something there's something emotionally complicated, I think, around all of this stuff. I also want to mention as well, if we look down here, we have Saturn. Saturn can kind of indicate where we have challenges in certain areas, where things may take a long time, where there's more like limitations. There's it also kind of represents our lessons and like the things that we need to master. We actually have so we have Saturn in the fourth house, um, and it's also conjunct Uranus, the planet, like the rebel planet, the disruptive planet. So, I kind of wonder if maybe this person might have some like different attitude. So first of all, I'm wondering if perhaps maybe there is like moving around a lot or disruptions or maybe childhood or like early family life is going to be marked by like the unusual or like a different kind of like living circumstance that's not really conventional, or just because Uranus brings this disruption energy, sudden moves, sudden changes, but or just sort of imparting this sort of unusual energy to one's childhood. And I say that childhood because it is conjunct the IC, which is opposite the midheaven. The IC is the lowest point of the chart, having to do with one's family, with one's home life, such as like early life. And we also have Saturn here too. So, this could be saying like, look, maybe there was a lot of responsibility on us on at an early age, or a lot that was expected of us, or maybe themes like relating to like limitations or work, or maybe even like delays in sort of getting like the home that you're wanting or something. It's interesting though, Saturn and Uranus being in a conjunction because they're blending their energies. So it could be like the home that you're maybe creating now. Possibly it just looks different from other people's, or has this kind of like Saturn Uranus stuff. I find like it's like Saturn is like the long term builder, like the longevity, but it's conjunct Uranus. So this is like busting out of sort of cultural norms. It's like we have these sort of opposite energies going on at once connected to the home. So, interesting stuff here. This is where would want to talk to the person and be like, you need to let me know how this manifests because that's really interesting. So let's talk about what's going on for this person as far as what is happening maybe around this eclipse cycle, what maybe things that we can look forward to coming up. So, first of all, this person is 36 years old, so they would be in a first house profection year. The profection year is really it's really speaking to, for me, how I use it. So that is a Hellenistic astrology technique that's sort of traditional astrology, and that is speaking to different like points of emphasis in your chart this year that become active when you were age 36. So because first house is Virgo rising and ruled by Mercury, it's going to make that Mercury really important. It may make some of those significations relating to Mercury come alive in this chart, and is going to be making things relating to the first house of physical body, identity, who this person is. Uh, really kind of like it's that's kind of giving us like a background essentially, and give us more. It's all going to come together. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. But okay, so because this person is in a Virgo year essentially, and this eclipse that we had was in Pisces, its opposite sign, it's really emphasizing like who this person is becoming, who they are letting go of, their personal life, how they show up in the world, and their relationships, who are they are collaborating with, how they approach relationships. It could be changes with their partners, and maybe bringing new partners into their life. Um, Okay, hold on. I gotta think. So, let me kind of back up for a second. So, before I even get to that, because I was looking at my notes and I was like, "Oh, Alex, you skipped a bunch of shit." Um, so I actually wanted to look first at transiting just a couple peeks at some transiting planets in their birth chart. So Jupiter, the planet of expansion, of opportunity, of wisdom, and Jupiter just kind of shows us like transiting Jupiter, moving through our birth chart, can kind of show us like where we want to seize opportunities, where things can simply be handed to us. And it's generally kind of like a point of positivity, essentially, not always, but just certainly a sense of expansion, because this person has Virgo rising. Jupiter is transiting through their 10th whole sign house, which would signify that on some level, even though it's more complicated, and I will explain why, there is some kind of expansion, maybe opportunities, maybe feeling simply saying yes to more things relating to your career, relating to how you show up in your work, at your job, within your career. It could be opportunities from authority figures or benefactors. I'm gonna say the thing with Jupiter and Gemini this year is it is squaring a Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is about limitation and delay, right? So there is this theme of contraction and expansion, specifically for a lot of my mutable rising signs for Virgo, Pisces, Sag, and Gemini. So we have like this feeling of wanting to expand within things relating to career, but there's also this contraction energy coming from the seventh house of maybe it's responsibilities to your partner that are sort of, um, like preventing you from feeling the full expansion that you want, right? Because so first of all, this person has had Jupiter in Gemini since mid-May 2024, so this year, and it will be there until next June. So it's going to be there for quite a while. Jupiter has not fully reached the moon or the midheaven or Mercury yet. I think those will be a bigger deal. So I feel like this person will feel more of that expansion energy next year, in 2025, because when Jupiter reaches the midheaven specifically, this could be some like the kind of like expansion in their career that they're looking for. It's also going to be conjunct Mercury, the ruler of their 10th house as well as their first house of self. So I do feel this like expansion energy, even though like there may be some snags as far as home, or maybe feeling like I have to really work on this sort of long-term vision as far as my home and family life goes, or there's some work involved there. But there is this kind of expansion energy. Now we want to look at Saturn. So Saturn is a planet of limitation, tests, delays, long-term things, or I wouldn't say long-term things. I'm gonna ignore that last sentence. So Saturn is moving through her seventh house of partnership. So, with the eclipses coming to the first and seventh house, as well as Saturn being in the seventh house of partnership, I don't know if this person is single or not. If they are single, this is really kind of when I would maybe think that that might be introduced. There's a theme being introduced with this eclipse that is going to continue throughout 2025 and 2026 that could suggest like significant partnerships. There's like an emphasis on significant partnerships. This is not just like I got a boyfriend. This is like I got married to someone. It's a huge responsibility and it totally transformed my life, right? Or that let's say that maybe this person begins collaborating with like a business partner or someone. It's some relationship that has a lot of that they feel like a lot of responsibility toward. It's like one of the various possibilities. The reason why I'm mentioning responsibility and all these things is because of Saturn. So Saturn is moving through their seventh house of partnership. So that can introduce like, some tests, some lessons, some delays, or heavier things, maybe relating to existing partnerships. It can also come in to sort of, help you sort of understand like what you don't want and help you set boundaries in relationships, whether that's romantic business partners, like whether that's romantic business or platonic. But I do feel significant things with personal growth, with becoming someone like just becoming someone new or having some personal evolution, and frankly, having new people come into your partnership sector. This is because the North Node and South Node, the North Node being beginnings, sort of like faded beginnings, hunger, desire, new things, that is going to be coming back to Pisces in 2025, really kind of getting this Virgo Pisces energy going here. And when that happens, you're going to be starting your nodal return. So I just kind of feel like things that feel fated regarding serious relationships, relationships that you feel responsible toward or that have this like really big gravity to them, but like sort of like bring you forward in your life. That's going to be really kind of picking up. I am going to say right now, perhaps like right now in this, couple days, weeks time span, perhaps you have been feeling kind of some sort of weighty decision making. Maybe who I want to take with me into the future. Are these relationships sort of serving me or something like that? Or maybe important partnerships coming your way. because Saturn is conjunct your north node right now. So when it comes to this specific lunar eclipse, this eclipse was about 25 degrees of Pisces. So let's go back a little bit. I can kind of show you exactly. Oh, close enough. Okay, actually, no, we can do that. Hold on. Okay, so lunar eclipse in Pisces. Remember, this is the first eclipse in a series of eclipses. So this may be just be offering kind of a preview of sort of what is to come, or introduce some kind of new storylines that are coming up. So again, themes relating to relationships, contractual agreements, business partnerships, platonic relationships, just your whole one-on-one relationship space. It really feels like it's in flux right now. And I feel like perhaps you're feeling like maybe you're in some sort of new chapter. Maybe that you're getting ready to like kind of grow, like to, level up in a sense, because again, you're at this first house sort of perfection year, really putting emphasis on that Virgo energy, who you are, right? So this eclipse came in. Perhaps there were completions, culminations, revelations, maybe simply just insights relating to this relationship stuff. Maybe introducing that sort of new like relationship storyline. This eclipse is close-ish to your Mars, which you have opposite your ascendant. I feel like you're probably there's interesting stuff when it comes to you in relationships. Maybe just because you have Mars, the planet of heat and passion, on that seventh house cusp, or on that descendant. Maybe that you're someone that I don't know, moves fast in relationships, or maybe has had your sort of fair share of conflict in relationships as well. Just because Mars can sort of Mars can kind of symbolate conflict and separation. So perhaps maybe this eclipse, simply you felt things kind of speeding up as far as like relationship stuff goes, or just felt a little bit of that Martian kind of I don't know, like let's get shit going kind of energy. Um, the biggest thing though that I was seeing is that this lunar eclipse is squaring the moon that I was talking about before. So first of all, so this, I feel like maybe you were feeling this eclipse on maybe a more emotional level. Perhaps it becomes, and sometimes eclipses can be interruptions to our day-to-day life. Kind of like it's like something is ending and something is beginning, and feeling like we're not quite like we're in this sort of weird liminal space. So something emotional, perhaps it was something related to like home and family stuff, or even mom, or like women sort of like in the family. Maybe there was sort of news around maybe there was like news around like women in the family. Perhaps there was something going on with career stuff as well, because it's hitting that moon in the 10th house. Maybe it was like women connected to career. It's also possible that this eclipse involved like news or events connected to friends, like people that are in your like professional groups or networking stuff, because the moon rules the 11th house, because we have Cancer on the 11th house here. So I'm interested to hear about that, and sort of what is coming up with home. It's like really kind of evolving a lot, but I'm going to say home, family, how you sort of um, it could also just sort of like bring in like elements connected to career. But it does feel like it's hitting you in a very personal way. Again, it's also going to be connected to, so this eclipse would be square Saturn here as well. So you know, the feeling of like, oh, I'm needing to deal with something weighty. I'm needing to deal with something serious, or there's like themes of like responsibility, or things are hitting some kind of snag, or feeling some kind of heavy energy, maybe connected to the home and family stuff. It's possible that this is also bringing in themes around what you are creating, romantic life, as well as health and work, just because Saturn rules these areas. But I'm not going to be putting emphasis on these, because it's just that's already a lot of information. But I am thinking we're kind of in this eclipse tunnel of things going on with relationships, new partnerships, new collaborations, that kind of thing. sort of redefining who we are when that South Node comes in 2025. We're gonna be doing a lot of letting go who I was before. Any kind of programming, I have kind of letting some shit go is gonna be part of it. And with this particular eclipse in Pisces, I'm going to say events coming up within like the past week and a half or like maybe week after involving women in the family, our home and family, maybe how we nurture ourselves through our career. There's a lot going on there. I'm going to call it here. Let me go ahead and exit where the hell I was at. Okay. All right. So all right. That is that. I think I'm going to leave it alone for now. So thanks everyone for watching and listening. Make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and that you have notifications turned on. If you're enjoying the audio, make sure that you're leaving a 5-star review. And again, if you're wanting a personal reading with me, just visit darkstarOracle.com and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.